All right, Tram, let's move to some much better news, and that is stocks. Today is one of those days you can check your 401k and feel pretty good about it. Traders closed out a big month, record highs on some of the indexes. The rise follows Canada rescinding its digital service tariff in an effort to facilitate trade negotiations with the U.S. Initial payments on that tax were set to begin today, and they would have applied to companies such as Google and Meta and Amazon, who do a lot of business up there in Canada, but now it's not going to happen. Investors are now awaiting deals between the U.S. and its trading partners because the president's 90-day pause on tariffs is set to expire next week. So let's try to make some sense of this. We're joined now with Randy Stoltz, who's the president of Clear Direction Investments. Thanks for being here, Randy. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I think it's important to talk about stocks. I mentioned the 401ks because a lot of people are invested in the market through their retirement accounts, correct?
Absolutely.
And it affects the overall economy in a way. How would you say that?
Well, at the end of the day, what's going on is just sums up in one word: unpredictable. And with the uncertainty of tariffs or no tariffs and the off again and on again situations and when interest rates are going to come down to make the homes and mortgages more affordable, all this plays into consumer sentiment and the timing thereof. And there is a lot of fear of missing out investing going on to try to catch up. But there is some economic forces at work in GDP or gross domestic product that just seems to be counteracting a lot of this, what's happening to drive the market up unexpectedly higher today.
Yeah, because they all say the market hates uncertainty, right?
Without a
And so
doubt.
President Trump gets in, says he's going to have these new trade deals. He throws out 140% tax, I think it was, on China for a while. So that sent the market really down low, and that was just in April. So now we go from April to where we are now. What has changed since then?
Just time and tariffs being communicated in such a way that they're not going to be as bad, and inflation has cooled. I mean, we're just under 3% inflation. So even though Jay Powell hasn't, made the decision to go ahead and lower interest rates, but there has been seemingly a lot of news and communication on tariffs being friendlier and friendlier. And although there's a lot of negative rhetoric that you see in the news all the time, I just feel that the overall sentiment has cooled. It's making people spend money and live just as yesterday was no problem. And those types of things are sometimes short-lived, and we have to be careful about it as we invest forward.
And if we want to give advice, I know you want to give specific advice to people, but they always talk about investing over time, and a 401k is a great way to do that. Would you pull back at this point or just keep doing what you're doing?
No, you have to keep doing what you're doing. I'm all about long-term cycles. In other words, you think about it, and where was the S&P, the Standard & Poor's 500, 10 years ago only? What was that, 2,000? The index today is a little over 6,000. I mean, that's a triple return. So 10 years goes by pretty quick. So, even if you're 60 and you're starting to wind it down and you're going to retire at 65 or 70, you got to keep doing what you're doing in your IRAs, your Roths, and so on and so forth. The bigger question here is just to make sure that you're understanding where taxes are now and where they're heading, especially in your retirement accounts.
Yeah, because if you look at the S&P 500, its average is something like 10%, right, or even more over its lifetime, which your investment will double every 7 years.
That's right. Over the lifetime of the S&P and other indices like the NASDAQ are great ones to continue to invest very methodically and very inexpensively just to ride up the breadth of the worldwide market, because you have the largest companies headquartered here in America that you just get to participate in and grow. But you have to give it 10-year cycles.
All right. Randy, thanks for coming in. How do people get a hold of you if they want to?
Well, we have a nice website at cleardirectioninvestments.com, or they're welcome to give us a call at 602-889-6500.
Thanks, Randy, for coming in.
You're welcome, Troy.
Tram.